Upon our initial arrival in England, we spent around 3 days in London, and one of the first places I went to was the London Transport Museum. The museum first opened in 1980, and it's now home to a large collection of transport artefacts from the UK's capital city, not just railway items. Speaking of which, one of the road exhibits is RM 1737, an example of the iconic AEC Routemaster bus, which is similar in appearance to Bulgy from Thomas the Tank Engine. However, in keeping with the main topic of this channel, this video will focus on the museum's railway exhibits. Unfortunately, the depot out at Acton wasn't open while we were in London. The museum is within walking distance of Covent Garden station on the Piccadilly Line. Indeed, riding aboard the 1973 tube stock is how we got to this area in the first place. As we walked along to the museum, I couldn't help noticing this pub, whose name is identical to the one often seen in the classic TV show Only Fools and Horses. After paying for admission and going through a quick security check, one of the first exhibits we came across was this horse-drawn tram. According to the museum's website, this vehicle was built in 1882 and ran in service until 1910, when it was replaced by electric trams. The body was sold off for use as a hen house, but eventually rediscovered and restored in the 1990s. Our next discovery was number 5, John Hampton, one of the Metropolitan Railway Bobo electric locomotives. This class was built by Metropolitan Vickers in 1922 and used on passenger services from central London out to Rickmansworth, where the electrification ended until its extension to Amersham and Chesham in the early 1960s. After the arrival of the A-stock trains, the Bobos were all withdrawn from service, with only 2 examples surviving into preservation. On the same floor as the Bobo Electric is A-Class 440 tank number 23, one of only 2 Metropolitan Railway steam locomotives to survive into preservation. She was built by Bayer Peacock and Company of Manchester in 1866, and is notable for being equipped with condensing gear, which was designed to reduce smoke emissions on the Metropolitan's underground sections. Number 23 was initially used on passenger services, but eventually relegated to shunting duties at Neasden Depot, where she remained in service until 1948. As far as I know, this locomotive has never run under her own power in preservation, but I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. The next vehicle we'll look at is quite an interesting little thing. This is electric locomotive number 13 from the City and South London Railway, the world's first deep-level underground railway. The C&SLR opened way back in 1890, initially running from Stockwell to King William Street, although the latter was closed in 1900 and replaced by what we now know as Bank. These days, most of that original section is now part of the Northern Line on the London Underground, and while I did get to ride on the Northern Line myself, that was only between London Bridge and Euston. Number 13 is the only surviving locomotive from the City and South London Railway, and she is displayed in front of passenger coach number 30. This is the only surviving example of the original C&SLR passenger stock, which were nicknamed padded cells due to their high-backed seats. Another strange aspect of this design is the lack of windows. These weren't initially included, as the designers thought there wouldn't be anything for the passengers to see. It's a good thing this idea wasn't continued on future underground coaches, because I dare say it would have made the passengers feel very claustrophobic. Last but not least, let's have a look at driving motor coach number 11182, an example of the iconic 1938 tube stock. This was a highly successful and long-lasting class, with a staggering 1,121 individual coaches built between 1938 and 1940. The class was in use on the London Underground for an impressive 50 years, but even after all that time, some vehicles, enough to make 9 two-car sets, plus 2 spare coaches, were sold to British Rail and famously used on the Isle of Wight between 1989 and 2021. And that's about it for my look at the London Transport Museum. Even though the museum was very busy, this was still an enjoyable visit, especially since you're allowed to climb aboard multiple exhibits. I can easily recommend visiting for yourself if you're ever in London, and to close off the video, I will leave you with some footage of another 1973 tube stock train at Covent Garden, recorded after I left the museum.